quick Guru's rant, or Guru talk, or whatever you want to call it. So somebody left a comment. By the way, thank you to everybody who's been subscribing and clicking like and liking my videos. Somebody wrote a comment asking about Cimande. Okay, Cimande is a style of silat. It's one of the older systems of Javanese silat, and some schools of thought say it comes from Abba Kair or Emba Kair. Abba means father, so let's say like Sifu Kair or Father Kair. Others have a different history, so I'm going to talk a little bit about both and share with you my thoughts on both of those. I've learned systems of Cimande or flavors of Cimande that come from both of those lineages. Okay, so one says it was brought in from Persia, and it goes back to the Wali Songo saints, or the Wali Songos were like these 9 mystical Sufi warrior saints or priests, if you will, that basically traveled all along the Silk Road, and they brought information and knowledge into Java, and then they taught it to the people there. That's one history of Cimande. And then there's other ones that say it came from this person, Abba Kair. So why is it important? Well, it's not really important unless you're studying Javanese silat. Anybody studying Sirach, all the handwork that you see in Sirach, all this motion, right? All these type of motions and all these type of things, all this comes from Cimande, okay? All of that. So you see it in Sirach here, and then here, and then here, and then here, right? If you take that out, it becomes very strong movements, okay? Supposedly, the theory is that Pak Sirach met Abba Kair, and he had an injury, and Abba Kair helped heal him, or helped rehabilitate him, and in the process he taught him Cimande, because supposedly Pak Sirach was attacked by bandits on the when he was horse trading, and he fell off a horse and he needed rehabilitation. So supposedly Pak Kair taught him his Cimande, and that became the backbone, or let's say the mother of Sirach. And then Sirach later was influenced by other silat systems and internal Chinese systems. So that's how it relates to Sirach. When I was learning Sirach, my teachers in Sirach told me, if you want to understand Sirach better, you should look at Cimande, or you should learn Cimande, or find somebody to teach you Cimande. I can tell you for a fact that the Detuars family was exposed to Cimande. Pendecker Paul was very good friends with Martin Breyer's father, who was a Cimande player. I know that the Detuars' father of all the brothers knew Cimande and Chepechut and Sirach, or Serah as it was called, and Pechut, I think it is. And anyhow, and Uncle Willem, his father-in-law, who was Auntie Joyce's father, he was a Sirach master and a Sirach player. A Cimande master and a Cimande player. My bad, I got confused there. But anyhow, he was a Cimande player. So Cimande has influenced greatly what we see in the West as Sirach. Okay, it's just a big part of what we do in Sirach. So I would argue that most of the handwork you see in Sirach really comes from Cimande and Kuntao. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to obviously go to Sirach because that's the art I mainly practice, and I'm telling you what I know of Cimande from the lens or the filter of Sirach. Okay, so back to Cimande history. So supposedly it comes from a region there which is called the Cimande village, and it has to do with a river. So there's a river there, the Cimande River, and the idea or the philosophy of this art is that you flow like water. Okay, where have we heard that before? Like Bruce Lee always says, be like water, my friend, right? Well, it's deeper than that. In the Cimande mentality, they divide the waters or the water of the river to the water you see above the river, so it's like the waves or the currents or the rapids, like the water rapids, and then the waters that you don't see, which are the undercurrents. So for a Silat Cimande player, it's be like water, but it means which water, the water you don't see or the water you see at the top. So the one at the top is very crashing and very powerful, right? The water in the bottom is very fluid and all-encompassing, so it has more of an internal type connotation. So if you think of it like in the Chinese arts, you have a yin and yang aspect. Well, Cimande has that. It's like the upper part of the water and then the inner part of the water that you don't see. So for example, if you're looking at a river from above water, or if you're looking at the riverbank down into the water, you're going to see the currents and the bubbling of the crashing waters at the top, and you're going to see the water crashing along the banks and the rocks and etc. But you're not going to see the undercurrent. And so it's very important that you understand that, because that has a lot of hidden meaning. It's kind of like, okay, maybe on the surface in Cimande you think that you're always going to be crashing and bashing, and on the bottom maybe you're moving more fluid and more evasive. So there's a lot. This could go into I could probably make like 10 videos about this concept alone, and even put it into examples in the Silat, so you could see how it would work technique-wise. So a lot of times in Cimande, it's not really like a technique you learn. It's more of a principle, just like Sirach. It's a real principle-based art. And one thing that I can tell you, the difference between, let's say, Sirach and Cimande is that in Sirach, this is one juru, okay? This is one juru, right? In Cimande, this is one juru, okay? This is another juru, okay? This is a juru, okay? This is a juru. This is a juru. So it's almost like micro jurus, or one frame at a time is Cimande, and then Sirach they took 6 to 8 Cimande movements and put them into one juru. Now Cimande does have long jurus, and it does have long dances and stuff like that, but at the core you have 33 basic movements, or basic hand positions, kind of like an alphabet, and then everything is built off of that alphabet. So Abba Khair was known for having very strong bashing ability. I like to think of it like the same kind of power that a Thai boxer has in his legs to kick you is the same kind of power that a Cimande player has to hit you with his forearm and to break your limbs with their forearm. So they're known for breaking bones and dislocating bones. They're known for snapping joints and tendons. And they're also known for the healing side of it. So a big part of Cimande training is not just learning how to hurt someone, but it's learning how to heal. So there's a lot of massage type techniques, which in the Chinese is kind of like Tuing Na, but it's very deep tissue type work where they work on really getting in there and digging out stuff. It's actually very painful, but it works wonders. If you've ever had a Cimande massage, it's almost miraculous how things heal fast afterwards. So I'll go a little bit about where I learned Cimande. We're always studying Cimande from Uncle Bill because it's ingrained in what he learned from his father-in-law, Carl Deans, and Carl Derns, and it's almost all that he does in his hands is a lot from Kuntao, Cimande, and Sirach. So if you look at Uncle Bill very closely, he does a lot of Cimande all the time, okay? And he's actually extraordinary at it. And then the other part where we learned Cimande from was from Guru Iping, okay? He's in London now. He was from Banten. And his style of Cimande comes from the Wali Songo, which is one of the Wali Songos was his great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather. It's in his family lineage, but anyhow, the historical time frame. So the Cimande from Pak Khair or Abba Khair is somewhere around the 1600s, okay? But the Cimande from the Wali Songo goes back to about the 1400s. So clearly there's 200 years missing there of where did this come from.